Have you ever seen one of these? It's a finisher medal for a marathon. It's huge. If you have one of these, it means you persevered through 26.2 miles of terrain to finish a race. You got past the leg cramps, the water stations, even the dreaded mile 20. You finished. Not many people can say that. Then there's my friend. He's on another level. He races in triathlons. He started a few years ago with this goal: compete in the Ironman Kona Triathlon. This race is hardcore. Starts out with a 2.4 mile swim, followed by 112 miles on a bike, and to top it all off, a full 26.2 mile marathon. Only the best of the best compete at Kona, meaning you can't just sign up for this. You have to qualify for it. So that goal set my friend on a journey of years of training, multiple triathlons, a team of doctors and athletic trainers who got him in tip-top shape to make competing in Kona even a remote possibility. Believe it or not, his perseverance paid off. Not only did he qualify for Kona, he came in first and won his division. He didn't just get a finisher medal. He got the real deal, the gold medal. Just like runners in a race show perseverance on the track, Christians often have to show perseverance in their faith. This month, we'll spend most of our time in the book of Hebrews, where we'll discover more about what God can do when we keep believing and don't give up. See, the author of Hebrews knew he was writing to an audience who was discouraged. He urged them to push through the difficult times. He wanted the Israelites to not only keep their faith strong, but to also persevere in the face of difficult times. We define perseverance as refusing to give up when life gets hard. Life was very difficult for these early Christians. They were being persecuted by religious and non-religious authorities alike. They were forced into hiding. They met secretly in fear of violence. By simply continuing to believe that Jesus was the Son of God, the early Christians were seen as outcasts. So the book of Hebrews was written to remind those Christians to refuse to give up. Even though life had gotten hard, they needed to keep doing what they knew was best for them to do. Sometimes life is hard for the kids in our ministries or our homes. Chances are they aren't being persecuted for their faith, but bad things happen. Things don't turn out according to plan, and it's easy in those situations to give up and stop trusting God. So this month, we're going to lean into them and say, don't give up. Keep trusting God no matter what. Persevere in your faith. But before we get to Hebrews, we start off our month with Jesus' last words before God brings him back to heaven. He gave his disciples an incredible task: to tell the world about him and his gift of salvation. This wouldn't be easy, but Jesus promised that he would always be with them. We want kids to remember that even when life gets hard, they can remember what Jesus promised. In the second week, we'll talk about how we are all surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. And because of the testimonies of all those people who have gone before us, we can have the courage and strength to keep pushing through the hard stuff to get to the place where God has called us to be. It was important for the early church to understand this idea that they weren't alone. There were people who had gone before them, and there were people presently around them that were going through the same kind of circumstances they were. And the same is true for our kids. We want them to know that when life gets hard, they can remember how others persevered and be encouraged to hang in there. We'll follow up with reminding the kids that we should focus our attention on Jesus. He is the ultimate example of someone who endured death itself to accomplish the rescue mission God set out for him. When we remember what Jesus did for us, we can find the strength to show perseverance. We'll end the month by thinking about the other people who can be encouraged by the way we persevere. Others are watching how we handle difficult moments in our life. When they see us show perseverance, they can look to our example and be encouraged to keep on keeping on. While we're learning more about how God can help us persevere, we want kids and families to memorize Isaiah 40:31. But those who trust in the Lord will receive new strength. They will fly as high as eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not grow weak. This is one of the most important verses we can hide in our hearts and remember when we're going through hard times. God will give us the strength to persevere. When it comes down to it, we all have experienced things that we would never experience if we hadn't pushed ourselves through the difficult times. When you get to the other side, you'll see something that you would have never seen before. If you can just believe in what God can do and what God can do in you.